February, Black History Month, Rosa Parks. But no one ever talks about Claudette Clovin. Who is she? What does she do? What's the importance of her? Well, to answer this, who Claudette Clovin is, Claudette Clovin was a young African-American teenager. She was only 15 years old, and she refused to give her seat up to a white woman on the bus in Montgomery, Alabama on March 2nd, 1955. And when she refused to get off the bus, she was arrested. Then when she refused to give her seat up, she was arrested and incarcerated for this. So she was in a similar situation to Rosa Parks, it sounds like. Well, did this situation happen before or after Rosa Parks? Well, actually, this incident actually occurred before the Rosa Parks incident. And this is where the NAACP actually got the idea for this. So the NAACP was discussing this case, and when they were discussing it, the secretary at that time was actually the woman we know to be kicked off the bus for not giving up her seat, Rosa Parks. So the NAACP, they were discussing this case, Claudette Clovin's case, and they came up with this idea. They had this idea, okay, we can't use Claudette Clovin, but let's use Rosa Parks. They wanted to use Rosa Parks over Claudette Clovin because she was a better public image, she was classier than Claudette, and she who was a pregnant teenage African American who was a little ghetto and foul-mouthed. They wanted to create sympathy, so they used someone more innocent and favorable to the public eye that could get more sympathy, like Rosa Parks, since she was a more put-together, elegant, classy lady, which would have been respected at the time period and would have gotten more of a reaction. And that's why the NCP planned to recreate Claudette Clovin's incident using their secretary in place of Claudette Clovin. In my opinion, does the Claudette Clovin story diminish any value to the Rosa Parks story? In my personal opinion, I don't think it diminishes any part of Rosa Parks' story. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, they both went through this horrible monstrosity of a time period and both went through horrible things of even after a hard day's work, and even being a woman, it could even be giving your seat up to a man, not just refusing not to. Doesn't matter. I mean, they were forcefully removed and arrested for not giving up their seats because they were tired. I mean, she was a pregnant teenage mother. I mean, she's already had it hard, and she was just pulled and ripped off the bus. I mean, Rosa Parks may not have been pregnant, but she was still arrested, and I mean, the situations all happened. It sounded like they were staged and they were fake. All this actually happened. So I think Rosa Parks' story still has story, but we need to shine more light on Claudette Clovin because, I mean, there's two sides to the story. I mean, there's her side too. We need to hear her side so we can have the whole story. I think that history classes should be teaching about Claudette Clovin because she is an important part of American history, because without her, this Rosa Parks situation wouldn't have been as big as it was, because if they would have used Claudette Clovin, it probably wouldn't have got as much traction and representation in the media, in the news outlets, and all across the country. It wouldn't have got national attention.